What's up, YouTube? And today we have a match against sidpokejackson from the Pokémon Wi-Fi chat, and this is for the Grand Festival Tournament, Round 1. So, here it is. He sends out his Ninjask as I go into the man, which is my Nidoqueen. He goes for a Protect, but I figured he'd probably go for a Protect because none of these things ever have attacks. And even if it did, it would be a physical attack, and it would do nothing to the man. I go for Toxic Spikes because I know that Toxic Spikes will probably be helpful, and he doesn't have anything to absorb them, and I think he just has one Rapid Spinner. So, I can make a check to that. So I got 2 layers of Toxic Spikes out, and he just subs up and Baton passes to his Dragonite, a couple of speed boosts. I go for the Ice Beam. I figured he'd probably bring in Dragonite, but I knew it would be effective against Ninjask anyways. He goes for an Outrage, which I was going to be afraid of, but I know that I'm fully physically defensive, and I should have no problem taking it, and I take it like an absolute champ. So I get an alright amount of damage from the Ice Beam, and considering he had multi-scale, it's alright damage. So I go into Tyranitar just to take the Outrage. He does not take it as well as I would have liked, but he does take it, so that's acceptable. So now I switch out again, go back into the man, and I just fodder it out. I was hoping for the 2-turn Outrage. And he gets an unnecessary crit, so it's whatever. Okay, now, what I really wanted to do though is get a safe switch into my U-Jelly, which is my Ditto, so that way I can copy his stat changes and just go right up for the Outrage and KO him. So, yep, obviously, unnecessary crit, but I do take out the Dragonite. Unfortunately, I lose my multi-scale, and I'm locked into Outrage. So he sends out his Donphan, and I obviously know why, but I can't switch. He goes for the Ice Shard. It does about half, I'd say, so not terrible damage for him. I go for an Outrage, and it does about half, which just a little under half, which isn't too bad, I guess, considering that thing's probably physically bulky. Unfortunately, the second Ice Shard is going to take me out, and he gets a crit. I don't think it mattered. I don't think it mattered. So now I'm going to my Jellicent because I know he's going to try to Rapid Spin, or he'd want to try to Rapid Spin. I'm using him to Spin Block, and I actually have Speed, and I go for a Scald and take it out. So now I know he can't get rid of the Toxic Spikes at all, which is great. So now he goes into his Virizion, which I was a little bit scared of because I figured this was probably a Calm Minding set, but I know that he's badly poisoned, so that'll really limit his sweeping capabilities. I stayed in predicting the fact that he'd go for Calm Mind, and I just wanted to, I don't know, I thought I'd get a little better damage with Ice Beam. I guess it wasn't too bad after the Sandstorm and after the Poison getting to about half. So now, since I knew I could get some free damage out while he goes for Calm Mind, now I switch into Latios because I know he can take any move that this thing will dish out. And he takes it like a champ, his Giga Drain. He gets very little HP back, and yeah, Latios is looking pretty good right now. So, take some more toxic damage, and I go for a Draco because I just want to take this thing out as soon as I can. I didn't think it would kill, but I really needed to get as much damage as I could on it, because this thing could have been a threat. And he goes for, I guess that's a Hidden Power Ice, I guess. Probably Hidden Power Ice. And it doesn't do anything at all. This thing must have been bulky. And he just got one Calm Mind up, so it doesn't do all that much. Alright, so he sends in his Feraligatr, which has X-Scissor, and I don't think it's supposed to. I think X-Scissor, it can't learn it. But he told me it can't learn it. He told me ahead of time before I made my move, so he warned me because he forgot to change it when he was doing something in Pokegen, whatever. It's fine, it's fine. He told me about it, so I switched into Magnezone, and Magnezone does take it like a champ. And so now I just go back into the Dragonborn because he said he wouldn't use X-Scissor anymore. because obviously it's illegal. But like I said, I'm okay with it because he told me about it. Unfortunately, he doesn't take the superpower. I mean, he does, but after the sandstorm, unfortunately, he's going to die. To my own sandstorm, of course. So, he is he looks like he's doing pretty good on the other side, but now I'm sending in my Rubisco, my Magnezone. And then I just switch out, because I'm baiting the superpower to just stall a turn. And then I, obviously, surprise, my Jellicent takes that quite well. He actually gets no damage from that, for obvious reasons. So, now, I'm fearing that he might have Crunch. I'm not quite, at the time I wasn't quite sure if he had it. I assume he doesn't, because he withdraws. He goes back into Ninjask, and I just go for a Scald just to get damage. I probably should have predicted that, but then again, I didn't know if he had Crunch or not. And I was just going to try to get damage with Scald. I was going to see if he had the Crunch, because I know one wouldn't be able to KO. He goes for a Protect. There isn't much I can do about that. I mean, there wasn't anything I could switch into that'd be better than Jellicent. So, the Sandstorm's still going on, and Ninjask is close to fainting. Now I decide I'm going to switch out so I can get an electric move in on for Alligator. I probably should have done this in the first place, the turn before, but he actually goes into Chandelure, so I guess that was pretty good. I baited him to go into Chandelure. And so he gets badly poisoned, which is good. And he's going for an Energy Ball, predicting the what's it called, Jellicent switch. But I just go for a Thunderbolt because, you know what, I'm pro at predicting sometimes. So he's almost dead, and I know that. I shouldn't use dead, but whatever, you know what I mean. So he's almost there. So he switches out for some reason. I'm not really sure why, but it really doesn't matter because he would have been able to take, I'm sure yeah, I was just gonna basically fodder out / maybe take Fire Move Tyranitar anyways. So yeah, and I know on the switch from Sandstorm and Poison, the Chandelure is going to die. That didn't really affect the match that much. He goes for a Waterfall. I mean, I was hoping I'd be able to live it, but yeah. Tyranitar's not as good with defense compared to its special defense in the Sandstorm, so that's not going to happen. But that's fine. Gets another turn of toxic damage going in Sandstorm. So now I go into my Jellicent, because I know I wall this thing completely since it does not have Crunch. And he goes out in a Ninjask, probably just to fodder and stop some toxic damage. So I just get a Scald off, and that kills it off. Thankfully enough, because I might have got some speed boosts. And now he goes into Chandelure, which, like I said, is basically next turn it's going to die. I go into Magnezone, predicting the Energy Ball. Even if he went for the Fire Move, it wouldn't have really mattered because I think I probably could have stalled it out with Jellicent anyways. So he goes into Feraligatr, and halfway I go for the Thunderbolt. I was actually kind of surprised how it sped. I think Magnezone is base 60 speed, and this thing might have been the 70s. Maybe I'm wrong, and I just KO with a Thunderbolt, which is great. And that was a pretty good game. Sidpokejackson, and it's pretty fun. You kept me on my toes through the end. I wasn't sure if I was gonna make it out, but I did end up being victorious, and now I'm going on to round 2. We'll see how I do in the Grand Festival on Pokémon 2 Wi-Fi chat. So, peace out, YouTube, and see you later.